Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me here. I think it's a credit to you for making this interdisciplinary, and I also think it's a credit to you for all the work you've done in the research that you've done. I've been in family practice, well, I see Al Gordon up there. Al Gordon and I were same classmates a long time, and so we don't want to know how long, right, Alan? The first potential is numbers. There are over 12,000 family doctors in Ontario. There are over 30,000 family doctors in Canada. And we are licensed by something called the College of Physicians and Surgeons. And you are licensed by province. So we are licensed by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. So Alan and I got our license a long time ago. He's a specialist. He has to meet certain standards. Now, what would you think I have to do to keep my license as a family doctor in Ontario? Absolutely nothing. Keep my nose clean, keep my license. Now, that's about to change. And it's about to change because of the government. There had to be legislation for this, and the government passed the legislation last year, and it's something called revalidation. And it looks as if family doctors are going to have education to keep their license. But the education has to come in two forms. The first form is what we call knowledge transfer. That's just giving you information. Okay, that's just making you smarter. But the purpose of CME is not to make a bunch of doctors smarter. The purpose of CME is better patient care. And that's the second part of good CME. And that is something called knowledge translation. How does it affect your behavior as a doctor? And I would think all the wonderful research we've heard about tonight, and I congratulate every one of you, you're really on the cutting edge and doing very important work. And as a family doctor, I can't wait for some of that to get from the research table to the bedside. I told Dr. Picard as he sat down, I said, I'll send you a bunch of my fibromyalgia patients, please. We need help that we can have for you people to bring us information as family doctors. I decided to put it into three categories: who, how, and what should the message be? So you may think the who is pretty simple, family doctors. But we don't practice, or you don't find many solo practitioners anymore. In fact, I predict the day of the solo practitioner will soon be over. We practice in something called teams. And so I think it's important that we think about educating nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, audiologists, dietitians, but I'm going to toss one more out to you: the consumer. All we need to do is look at the United States to see how important direct-to-consumer advertising is. And I want to tell you that patients coming in and asking us questions about what do you know about and you don't know anything about is very embarrassing and can be a big push to get you to learn something. So I would think the simple answer is we educate as many people as we can. How? It takes time, money, and manpower. To create an accredited program for family doctors across Canada takes several months, at a minimum 5 doctors, and tens of thousands of dollars. And that program is only allowed to run for 1 year. That's a lot of effort for just 1 year's work, but that's how the accreditation process works. So I've heard people say they need grants. We don't have a lot of money, and I appreciate that, so I've got some suggestions, I think, on cheaper ways to do it. Go to conferences, go to doctors' conferences. There are two big family doctor conferences in Canada, Family Medicine Forum and Primary Care Today. I run Primary Care Today, and meet the doctors there. Present posters of your research. Go to rounds. You've got the academic hospitals right down the street here. Present your findings at those rounds. I suspect that's already being done. The next step is go to the periphery. I talked about taking the message directly to consumers. How about tear-off sheets in waiting rooms? There's a company in Montreal that every 3 months produces posters for family doctors' waiting rooms with tear-off sheets. You have to get the clinics or the doctors to agree with it, but you can do it. What about closed-circuit TV in waiting rooms? We know there's closed-circuit TVs in some clinics now, and there can be it's basically information. They're not infomercials, they're information, but I would think what you're presenting here is informative enough. Thank you, Lee. And now, what should you do? Well, I'm just going to toss out a concept here, and I'm not going to give you answers, but think about the ideal, when I made this up, the ideal medication, and let's just say the ideal therapy. Is it effective? Do you have good studies, randomized controlled trials to back it up? Is it safe? Is it tolerable? You've heard the phrase, that music makes me sick. Don't want that. Is it natural? Or is music manufactured? Is it reliable? Is there an antidote to bad music? Is it cost effective? And finally, is it easy to use? Can I, as a family doc, just prescribe this, or do I need to send them to a music therapist? So, food for thought. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you for a very good evening.